What's up, everybody? You know who I am. You may not know who our guest tonight is, or guests, I believe. So I'll do like a brief intro, then we'll bring them on. So a few days ago, uh, a guy who is an actor, his name's Mark Pellegrino. You know, he's a little wild on the internet, I guess, but he was joking about a friend of ours that was that the Zionists were getting actual intelligence about being drone strikes. So that started this whole big back and forth, and I was very surprised when he actually agreed to debate. So I'm gonna give him that one off the bat. Most anti-communists are afraid of that, and he gets points for that. So we went back and forth on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Here we are. Look, a lot of people like these like weird, like, well, let's get a moderator and all that kind of nonsense in debates. I'm sure as grown-ass adults, we'll be able to simply just have a conversation. We're going to, just talk about communism and capitalism, because he also apparently started an organization called the American Capitalist Party, which was news to me. But anyway, we'll bring him in, and when his buddy, I believe his name is Michael, gets here, we'll bring him on too. Mark, what's up? How you doing tonight?
Hey man, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Actually, I'm going to turn my volume up because I can't, and my volume's too low. So we'll do that. Give me a second. All right, that'll work. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So yeah, go ahead. Floor's yours.
Well, so what I wanted to really talk about, not just the broad issue of capitalism versus communism, but the moral codes behind capitalism and communism. What ethics animates capitalism? What ethics animates communism? And we can have a discussion about that. We could talk about all the other economic stuff too at some point, but I prefer to start right at the heart of things, the ethics of both, because they're mutually opposed to one another. And you said something I found sort of interesting online. You said you are an American patriot and a communist. So eat that, or something to that effect. And somebody said, what is it about America that you like? And you proceeded to name a few things that could be in any region at all. They were great memories for sure, but nothing I would necessarily tie to fidelity to what I would say is America, which is an idea and an ideal. And I say Americanism is a very different moral ideal than communism. And I don't think you can be a patriot to America and a communist at the same time. But we'll discuss that when my co-chair gets here. I'm the chairman of the American Capitalist Party. Anybody who wants to go see our profile, our page, can go to americancapitalistparty.org. Read everything, read our policies, read the articles that we write, the content that we produce, see if we make sense. Fight with us if you want to. I like to fight. It's a good thing. These ideas need to be hashed out in the public sphere, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And I'll forgive you for calling me soft hands, but only this one time.
Sorry about that. Until you prove that you don't have soft hands, that's where I am with most people in your position. But
yeah, okay.
You may prove you don't. So that's up to you.
I got hard knuckles. And I choke people out that are a lot bigger than me. So I don't care if my palms are soft. My knuckles are hard, baby.
Okay. Well, okay. So you said something interesting. So this American Capitalist Party, I'd never heard of you guys before. So I went to check it out, and I noticed something kind of funny, that you guys are asking people for donations to fund the group, right? So I thought that was a funny sort of contradiction between you guys and the American Communist Party, which is building small businesses to fund itself. Sort of like, well, people always say, oh, those commies just want handouts, right? Except we're building businesses, and here you guys are asking people for their money instead.
Well,
But you're
this is something that's very interesting. Most political parties get by on donations, and
Mhm.
you and I are actually going to discuss this very topic. But I prefer to keep it for the very end because I'd like the topic to be about ethics, the ethics of Americanism versus the ethics of communism, and that's where we'll be going as soon as my co-chair gets here. I think he was told that we were starting late at like 3:40, so that's probably why he's a little behind.
He is right here, actually. Give me a second. There we go. This is Michael Leibowitz, who's with us now. He runs a podcast, I believe, called The Rational Egoist, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Great to have you here as well. So,
Thank you.
just full disclosure, we were originally going to do like a 2-on-2 debate type of thing. But I'm crazy busy, and all day I've sort of got equations going on, and I'm doing work. So it kind of just slipped my mind to ask Eddie if he wanted to join me, and I asked him at the last minute, and he'd already had some stuff planned, so he can't make it. But I'm fine talking to both of you guys on my own. It's no big deal.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. Maybe we can make this a little bit of a series, and Eddie can pop in at some point, at any point in the series, and discuss it with both of us.
Yeah, sure. Definitely. I'm sure he'd be happy to. He's even busier than me. I have like 90-hour weeks, if not more, between party work and all that kind of stuff. But so here's the thing about a topic of the ethics of communism versus the ethics of capitalism. I believe that we have fundamentally incompatible notions of what ethics means.
Yes, that's the thing. Is, do I call you Noah? Do you like to be called Noah?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, Noah. My guess is that as we go through, we do a series, as Mark said, and we have these debates. We're going to be talking about the ethics, for instance, of profit, the ethics of rent, collecting interest, of entrepreneurship, that sort of thing. So what I thought we should do is, from the beginning, have a debate on ethics, qua ethics. And then once we get downstream to the political stuff, we'll have the ethical background to apply.
Sure. Well, how about this? The floor is yours. Make your case.
Make my case for ethics?
Yeah, like what is your ethics? Like what are you?
Okay, well, so let's see if we can agree on a definition of ethics. And I'm using ethics synonymous with morality. I know that in other languages the two diverge, but in English they're pretty much synonyms. So I would define ethics as a code of values adopted by choice that guides human behavior. Would you do you have any problem with that?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so then the question becomes, what is a value? Do we need them? Are they real, or are they completely subjective? Is it just a matter of opinion? And the definition of value is any object or quality desirable as a means or end in itself. This comes into play in relation to one type of entity, living entities. Living entities are the only entities that can seek things out, and we're the only entities that have to in order to survive, in order to stay in existence. The alternative is existence, non-existence, and it really only applies to living entities that can act for their own destruction or act for their own survival. And once we get to the human level, we operate by choice. And we don't come equipped with a code of values. We have to learn how to behave, what is best for our survival. Thus, we have ethics. Now, given that life gives rise to the concept of value, life is the standard of value. That which is good for the life of a man or a woman or a human being is the good, and that which harms it is the bad. So the standard of ethics, the standard of morality, is human life. Now, I'm an individual. I'm not a member of a collective or anything else. So my life is my own standard. So I act according to what is good for me or what is bad for me.
Okay,
That
look,
is the ethics of
hold
egoism.
on. So
But I-
okay,
but before you respond, no, I think I want to add something to that because
oh,
I think
okay.
there's an important important component missing. It's what's good or bad for you as a rational being. So as a rational being, that implies a lot. A rational being implies the full context and scope of your life. That's what a rational being does when they take in a value, when they assess whether a value is good or not for them. It's not range of the moment thinking. It's whether this value will make them thrive in the long term, not the short term. So I think, Michael, will you agree that adding that concept of rational egoism, which is
Um,
sort of right behind
Well,
you,
I
is a
so like
necessity?
well, hold on.
you
Let's see
guys
what
are
Noah
going
has to say.
like a lot on a lot, and like I'm just looking like I don't mean to be rude or nothing, but I'm looking for a concrete point. Like where are you going with this? Like what your value is? Like
I'm starting. I just gave you the standard by which to identify whether something's good or bad. The way that I identify whether something is of value, which is ethics, what I should do is whether it's helpful or harmful to me as a rational being. Now, from that, we're going to span out, and there's going to be a lot to it. There's going to be the rational component that Mark talked about and whatnot. I just wanted to give you, to start with, my standard of judging whether something is good or bad. And now I would like to hear what yours is.
I mean, for me, it's not even the point, right? For me, uh, the sort of morality that develops socially is a historical thing, and it changes as history changes, right? Um, uh, you know, before there was even Jesus. Hold on, but I need to close this window. It is storming like crazy. Give me a second. All right. Hopefully it doesn't knock my internet out or nothing. But like this is always my problem with sort of individualist views of things, right? We begin with this sort of, okay, I think this is what values are, fine. And then I never get to like why I need to care about it, right? Like, why do I need to care what your standard of values are? Why do you need to care what mine is? There's already a sort of social norm that we all participate in that sort of built us all into who we are already. And this is without getting into the like issue of definitions and sort of pigeonholing ourselves
Okay.
into one sort of particular use of a general concept like ethics, right?
So Noah, you then believe that right and wrong is determined by the broader society, determines what's right and wrong, or do you just believe there's really no such thing as right and wrong? It's a social construct. How would you put that?
No, I get you. Like the whole social construct thing bothers me, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
Um,
Me too, but that's what it's sounding like, that you're saying
no,
that, well, we have already this societal norm.
right?
So,
No,
but if it's just a societal norm, then it would have to be a social construct.
my issue really is that we can go into these like deep kind of like I could gibber on for 10 minutes about what I believe a value is, but like you have no reason to care. Like
Well,
if what our values are as a society
Well, I
are
do though.
I
I
based
I
on
would
do.
say I
convincing
would
each
say
other,
Michael,
then it's
I
not
would
going to be able to, like, we're never going to like have a constant that everyone can agree on. What I'm saying instead is there is a social norm that develops historically instead, right? Like we don't all rationally arrive at the decision murder is bad. Um, it's sort of historically built into who we are because we're participating in society. No one had to convince me of that because it's already the background of what built me and sort of characterizes me as I go through my life.
Okay.
you should tell that to some of the murderers out there in actual toxic societies that don't buy that premise.
That's
What
true.
but Michael, go ahead.
Well, I
You were
mean,
gonna,
yeah,
I
like
wanted to say
I've
something,
Well,
but you
tried
go ahead.
telling
well,
that to Israel, but they haven't
no.
listened.
What I was gonna say is, first of all, there's multiple different moralities accepted by society, but none of that matters. I mean, the ancient Aztecs sacrificed living people. The cannibals in New Guinea would eat each other. Slavery was widely acceptable all over the world, and right here in this country, what, 170 years ago or so. So that doesn't get to the heart of it. Now, if you're down the line, you said, well, who cares? What do you care what my values are? What do I care what your values are? But the heart of the argument as we get into the politics is you're going to argue that it's wrong for employers to make money, to make profit. If you don't think it's something wrong for employers to make profit, then we if you're going to stay away from normative judgments, then we're going to have a very different discussion. But ultimately, the ethics of people drives them. Ethical beliefs change from what you said. And within cultures, I was taught by my father and in the community I grew up in that assaulting and robbing people was the way to go. So that's what I did. But that clearly was wrong. So so that's
Michael,
why the thing is.
I also want to go. I want to piggyback on that because Noah, you said, why should we care about values? Well, you have a political party, we have a political party, and you seek to influence the political system, and the political system is a system of force. When you control the political system, you have the capacity to impose your will on others. So your values now are in a position, once you have political power, to be imposed upon others who may not share your values at all. So I think it's very important that you define what those values are if you're seeking to gain some form of political power, which is the power of the gun. It's the power of enforcement.
Well, so here's my issue with it, really. Like, all of this, we can argue about what is moral or ethical forever, but I just don't see, like, that's not how social change really happens. For me, this is happening objectively. Like you said that, Michael, for instance, I would argue that it's morally wrong for a capitalist to make profit off of workers. No, I don't argue that at all. In fact, I argue that just as Marx did, that he's completely within his rights to do so, right? What I argue instead is that this system has a fundamental concrete contradiction within it, right? That exists already before there's even a capitalist there, before there's a worker there, right? And builds who these people are, reflecting that contradiction in social life. So, for example, we have different, like you say, different sets of values within society overall, but it hasn't changed much. Look at the ruling elites, right? Look at Epstein. They're, in my opinion, monsters, right? With all the blackmail and children and
by what standard? That's what I'm getting at. You see, now this is the thing.
Standard, like
but Noah, I've paid a little attention over the last few days to what you've been saying and the manner in which you debate. And I get, online things get a little theatrical and whatnot. But you talk about working for parasites, for instance. That's an ethical judgment that you're passing on somebody.
No, it's an objective judgment. Observation.
It's an objective. Well, it's not a literal parasite.
Right.
It's parasitic. Well, but it's no, but it's what it is. There's no host.
It's an ethical claim.
It's an ethical claim.
Well,
it's an ethical claim.
Well, would you agree that that's it? When you call somebody a parasite, you don't think that's a disparaging remark?
Right. No, I'm being rude, but I'm not. Here's the thing, and this is another issue I have just with individualism in general, is that it often, I feel like individualists, and this isn't an ethical claim against you, tend to sort of refilter what someone else is saying into their own worldview. My worldview is completely different, right? I don't view how society functions the same way you guys do. And so ethics isn't at the top of my mind when I'm calling the big banks, for instance, parasites. What's at the top of my mind is the things like fractional reserve banking. It's just objectively parasitic. Every time they expand the money supply, right, through the creation.
And do you think us capitalists
hold on, 1 second. I'm almost done. Then you can go. Every time they expand the money supply, right, with giving these loans out and keeping interest rates low to keep it going, they devalue the money in all of our bank accounts, right? And that is a parasitic move. They've done nothing for anyone, yet they're leeching off of all of us. So it's not really like I'm saying you're bad for doing this. I'm simply pointing out that it's parasitic in general. You know,
But okay, so so you don't think there's anything wrong with that?
it's not. Well, the issue isn't like I don't think that whether I think there's something morally wrong with it or not is
No,
the
but I
problem.
want to know if you think there's something morally wrong with it.
I mean, yes and no. Like, I don't blame individual bankers for doing it because I know that they're in a situation where that's the norm for them, right?
But you think the
at
system
the
is
same
unethical.
time, it is immiserating the American people. It's destroying life
So
all
what?
over the world. So,
But so what though? So what if it does? Is there something wrong with doing that? And if so, by what standard are you coming to that conclusion?
right, well, that's just the thing. Like, that's not even part of why I care about it. It's this contradiction between people, right? That's objective in the way our society reproduces itself in general, that leads to class struggle, that leads to crashes, that leads to all of this sort of process of history happening, right? That's the point of Marxism. It isn't, and yeah, I have my own personal ethics, and we believe that like creating a communist virtue ethic is important, but the real Marxist analysis isn't on ethics; it's on social, like objective development, basically.
Okay. So if you're going to, so my argument for capitalism starts with individual rights. A right being a moral claim to something, right? In order, now, if it's a moral claim or a just claim to something, this is a moral concept. It's dependent on a broader moral theory. Now, in order to even have a morality, you have to have freedom of action. So if I'm going to have rights, I must have a right to that which gives rise to the concept of morality to begin with, which is my life. And I must have the right to take those actions necessary to maintain my life, not my physical survival, but my survival as Michael Leibowitz, as a rational being, right? So that's the starting. I have to be free. I have to be free to earn money. I have to be free to accumulate property, to trade how I want, to spend it how I want. That's the starting point for my defense of capitalism. But you're saying that your defense of Marxism is not an ethical one. So if it's an economic argument that you're making for Marxism, well, let's examine some of the fallacies of Marx. First of all, he relied on the labor theory of value that he had got from Smith and Ricardo. That
Well,
was
hold on.
that was hold on.
Hold
Let me
on.
say. Go
Well,
ahead.
you've been going on for a minute, so I just want to
No, go
clarify
ahead. You're
one
right.
thing.
Go ahead. You can jump in.
I just and like you can interrupt me too. It don't matter.
No, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. So the reliance on the labor theory of value. So Marx's critique of the labor theory of value was basically that Ricardo didn't understand the contradiction within money, right? However, Marxism itself does not rely on this. This is more of a conclusion of Marxism. But what I'm more interested in is this, like, so your argument for capitalism, right, is that in order to have any rights, you need the right to property, basically, right?
To earn property, not to be given property.
To earn and keep, to be able to earn, keep, and dispose of property as you see fit,
So
as a rational.
we see China, like all kinds of people in China that own different types of property right now. I don't understand why you need capitalism to do that if communism is doing it better.
Well, first,
it's not.
It doesn't do it better, but that's a different thing. There's the differences between compulsion and freedom. If I'm being compelled to do something, or if money is being redistributed by force, that's a different story than I'm being free. Now, this is where I think we're going to come into some problems in the discussion, because the underpinnings of Marx, labor theory of value. Marx says that, for instance, he says that the cost of production and the price of a product equal each other because it's the cost of production that determines the value of a product. The labor that goes into the product determines the value of it. But Marx is wrong. Menger, Leon Walras, William Stanley Jevons, and Carl Menger simultaneously discovered marginal utility.
Yeah,
that is the theory of value. They destroyed the labor theory of value.
I disagree. But here's the thing on it. Like,
you disagree that they destroyed the labor theory of value?
Correct.
Okay, well, why don't we
marginal
debate
utility
that?
than the subjective theory and all that. I disagree. But
Okay, well, we can debate that. That'd be
well,
a nice starting point.
this is
Or why don't we discuss the iron law of wages and how it's been historically destroyed, or how Marx misunderstood profit for interest?
Are you saying that Marx was advocating the iron law of wages?
Marx says that that the way that wage earners make their money, they ultimately make just enough to subsist. That's the argument Marx made. That's the iron law of wages. So yes,
the iron law of wages was the Lassalleans were claiming this, and then saying that because the
iron law of wages comes from Ricardo, not from Ferdinand Lassalle.
Well, no, the German Lassalleans in Marx's day were using the iron law of wages, and this is where Marx criticizes it, right? It's in the Critique of the Gotha program, and they're basically trying to. They actually asked Marx to critique it, and he kind of went bonkers on them. But they're basically saying because all of the value within it, a given commodity, is created by the proletariat, that they should get all of the value back, which is insane. You can't reproduce the productive apparatus. You can't do anything, right? But this is always my issue with libertarians. Whenever they want to sort of advocate for what they're saying, they go into this sort of I don't want to be rude, but they into a script about Marxism, right? They attack the labor theory of value, etc. But the law of value, as we call it these days, isn't the basis of Marxism. It isn't a premise; it's a conclusion, right? Marxism is instead like more of a way of understanding how everything develops. Right. This is why he critiqued the labor theory of value, saying that Ricardo couldn't understand the contradiction within money. And what he says about value and the sort of working class or the proletariat, which is a more particular term, being brought down to a level of subsistence. It's not subsistence, but it's social reproduction. So whatever reproducing that norm, we all sort of get shoved down to that. And he doesn't sort of say this is an iron thing where it can never change. We see, for instance, in America, a middle class rising for a while, right? And now we see it disappearing. So we have to understand what changed with that. In order to do that, for me, you need Marxism. But again, I'm sorry to ramble.
Well, I have to disagree with you. You don't need Marxism. You need an understanding of what makes markets work. And you can see quite clearly that it's the intrusion of the state and increasingly centralized economic thinking that has created so much of the lowering of the standard of living, the real wages not rising the way they should. That has to do with the markets being cleaned out by the political class and being substituted for by the political class. It's not an effect or a natural effect of free markets themselves. If anything, it's free markets that raised the standard of living, increased productivity. It raised the standard of living because people's real wages went up, whether they went nominally up or not. Their real wages went up. Their product because their productivity went up. And I don't think Marx would deny that the value of capitalism to create great prosperity. In fact, in some respects, I think he disparaged it because those proletariats became bourgeois, and then they became quite content to be well off, and they no longer had the revolutionary spirit. They no longer wanted to overthrow the world anymore, or throw away the existing order. They wanted to live as they were living, as prosperous people.
Let's rein this in a little bit and get a little more concrete with it. So I'll agree that as capitalism develops, it expands the productive forces, right? That's very basic, obvious facts. But I'm not sure that I'm sold on this idea of what does this on this idea of it's all this government intervention. There's been government intervention since the beginning. I mean,
yes, there has been, but it was so minimal as to be practically non-existent. I mean, even in the 19th century, when when the Interstate Commerce Commission was finally invented by the railroads who wanted to, solidify a monopoly, a government enforceable monopoly.
Right, but
Even then, the amount of government that was actually running businesses was so infinitesimally small as to be considered practically non-existent.
I mean, I don't know about non-existent.
I said to be as considered almost non-existent.
Right. No, I get what you're saying. It seems to me that it was growing all along, and this goes hand in hand with the centralization of capital. We can't just sort of, I don't know, like hand wave away the fact that monopolies naturally develop out of that market, right? And just say like, well, it's the state. No, I mean, the Rockefellers centralize capital in their own hands and then use the state to their advantage, of course, because why wouldn't they, right? But they did this through the market, right? They did this by going into smaller businesses.
And what happened?
Their book, hold on, almost done. Throwing their book down on the accountant's desk and saying, this is us. Unless you sell to us now, we'll destroy you and buy the pieces. Like
and
that,
what happened?
And a very well-known thing,
And what happened? What happened to the price of oil when Standard Oil probably had 90 to 95% market share? What happened to the price of oil and the price of kerosene?
I mean,
fell.
monopoly is super efficient, right? But are you arguing?
No. Monopolies. Market monopolies, which gain market share because they create a product cheaper and are able to build economies of scale and produce things for a much cheaper price, are not the same as a coercive monopoly. A coercive monopoly is incredibly inefficient, and you see coercive monopolies all over our government system today, where the government is essentially controlling even the business itself, while the business people themselves have nominal ownership. Now, that's not capitalism. That's called fascism. That's another version, another iteration of socialism. That's not capitalism, and that's a coercive monopoly, and that's different, right? You'd say the post office. You'd say the post office is different from Amazon. It's less efficient than Amazon. It always operates at a loss. Go ahead, but that's one course.
You talk about the 19th century, but I mean the reason. This was sort of a more productive era is because of government protectionism, right? And intervention into the market. I
disagree.
Don't understand how you're getting that, like that this is from like some free market system. I just don't know where
I disagree.
The
19th century was the most innovative and inventive and most hands-off period of our 2 centuries or 2 centuries. It was unfortunately Trump has not gotten that notion, and he thinks that the prosperity that came about in the late 1800s was a result of McKinley's tariffs and protectionism. It wasn't. Look, Edison tried to control a monopoly on all of his products, including film production, and people simply just took the film production out of New Jersey, went to Hollywood, and created an entirely different free market system based on that. Every single company that has tried, but listen,
like he was stealing from everyone else and became who he was.
He didn't steal. He didn't steal from everybody else, but he did go to the patent office faster than everybody else. The light bulb was invented by 21 people simultaneously. It's just the way the world works. It's not like one person hatches an idea. They often happen simultaneously. Yeah. And the person who gets there first and carries the rights.
The person who rips off the other people, he's who he wants to
not ripping them off.
He definitely ripped them off.
This is okay. Can I come in?
Who do we learn about now?
This is where I want.
Here's my point. All of this development that happened in the 19th century happens because of government intervention into the market. Okay. I mean, the government was picking winners back then. It picked winners in the 18th century. It picks winners now. And now we're developing AI. We have the internet now where we're talking. I mean, I just don't know where there was ever this society without government intervention.
There wasn't.
The question isn't whether or not to intervene, but who is intervening and on whose behalf?
I think it's a different question too. Go ahead, Michael.
This is kind of why I wanted to go in a more linear fashion. I wanted to start with ethics and then go to economics, because once you're up into the historical stuff, it's just going to be back and forth. No, that's not what caused it. Yes, that's what caused it. Yes,
Agreed.
there's been government intervention in the economy from the very start, right? With Hamilton's bank, right? So then the question becomes, how do we weed out what were the good economic causes from the bad ones? What produced prosperity? That takes economic analysis, right? You can't just answer the question and say, look, Standard Oil was extremely prosperous. Was this because of protectionism? Was it because of free markets? Was it because Rockefeller was a genius? You need to understand the economics behind it. But before we can get to the economics and the utilitarian side of things, it's vital, like you just said, is this somebody we should be celebrating? Well, why or why not? What determines whom we should celebrate and whom we shouldn't? In order to do that, we have to have a theory of ethics to understand who's good, who's bad. That's why I wanted to start with ethics.
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to start with rights. So now I want to add, so are you still going to tell me that morality is irrelevant to this discussion, Noah, or imply that it's not relevant?
Because
I
I
never said it was irrelevant. I said it's historically determined, right?
Okay.
And that's a lot different of a thing. And I even said, like, I have my own code of ethics, right? Like, my father taught me how to be a man as I was growing up, and this shapes who I am. This
Okay.
is different, I said, from the ruling elites
No,
who
no.
are busy diddling kids, right?
I'm not, in order to judge the ruling elites, we still have to have morality. So
Right.
my question again for you is not what different ethical systems have happened to develop in the world. I understand different theories have come about. I understand in different parts of the country they're different parts of the world they're different. Do you believe that there is a correct theory of ethics? And if so, what is it? How do you validate it?
All right, I can answer that. Yeah, I think that ethics have to correctly reflect where they come from, right? The reality of the situation. I think there's a value judgment we can place on whether we think my version or your version is good, but I think there are social reasons we all sort of develop these beliefs, right? And I think they change over time. Like you said earlier,
But
back
are
at the
some
beginning
right
of
and wrong,
America,
Noah? That's what I'm asking.
slavery was still considered morally correct.
Not a lot of people.
Well,
A lot of people went counter to the culture.
That's
Plenty
true.
of people, because people can think for themselves,
Of course,
regardless
but
of
what I'm
social
saying
forces.
is it doesn't really it doesn't really sort of transition society in any way.
Well, here's the problem. Ultimately, Mark and I are arguing for pure capitalism. You're arguing for communism. There's very little sign in the broader society that either of the systems that we're arguing are going to be implemented or soon. Doesn't mean never. So, but
I
we're
disagree.
still, but we're okay. Well, we can get to that. But what I want to know is, what is your theory of ethics? I understand, like I said, I understand people have different theories, but what is your theory of ethics? Is it accurate? How do you validate it so that we can debate it? Like, I put out a whole series. I gave you the definition of morality, definition of value, standard of value, how
No,
that leads to a theory of rights.
no,
We
I
can
get it.
debate any of that, but what
I
am I
get
going to
it,
debate
Michael.
with
It's
you right
like
now?
I just don't want to like gibber at each other all night about this. Like my ethical system is very bog standard, right? Um, it defensive violence, for example. But that seems like you say you want this system of full capitalism. You created an American capitalist party, right?
Yeah.
But here we are talking about like what I consider morally good and not.
It's
I
not
don't.
just what you consider. What I want to get to is what is actually morally good. But in order to have that
Right.
debate, I need to know what you think
Oh,
is morally
okay. I
good
get what you're saying.
and why.
Let me respond by saying what is morally good or not is not how societies change.
Okay.
Like we
I
can. It
disagree,
doesn't
but I
matter.
don't care. But I really don't care right now. But morality absolutely drives human behavior. People are driven by what they think is right and wrong.
Yeah, but you're beginning in the middle.
No,
What I'm saying
No,
is
ethics
that's
is
the
the beginning.
It's the beginning.
Ethics
this
is
is
the beginning.
again where we disagree. This is why I wanted to start here. Is what is the premise, right? You're beginning at something I believe has already historically developed. And I'm trying to get at whether or not you're starting at where I consider the middle will ever change anything. You just told me, I mean, you guys are starting this party and asking people for money, and you just told me you don't think it's realistic. I'll tell you straight up.
Ho. That's not what I said.
That's not what I said.
No, I said it's not. I said neither one of us right now, neither is getting ready to get implemented. The reason that you have debates like this is so that you can convince people, that you can move people in that direction. Right now in America, for instance, people think generally your average citizen thinks taxation is perfectly moral. I would argue, hell no, it's not. But in order for them to understand it, you have to make clear-cut arguments. That's
right. No.
That's what I'm here to do.
I get you. But here's my thing. Like, whether you and I think, and I kind of agree with you on taxation, right? But here's the thing. That doesn't matter. There have been people saying this since the founding of the country, since the founding of countries in general, since the development of taxes, and they've existed the entire time. So at what point?
No, not quite.
But Noah, people have been advocating socialism for hundreds of years.
Hold on.
So what difference does that? I mean,
hold on. So at what point do we look back and say, like, well, maybe arguing that taxation is immoral isn't a good route to achieve our aims, right? When you say like you want this pure capitalism, that's fine. But I have actual historical and present day evidence that communism is implemented, does rise out of capitalism, and it does very well for society in general, right?
Okay. Like, would you know, we can move on from ethics, but I want you to just admit that you do not have a coherent theory of ethics.
I think that a philosophically sound theory of ethics isn't necessary to be ethical.
Okay.
I think that ethics are sort of both subconscious and conscious at the same time.
Okay. You said you didn't want to gibber back and forth, right? But how can I not when you're not giving me a coherent answer?
But you keep asking me.
I want you to just tell me what's right and wrong. That's Michael, it. What is your standard of judging right and wrong? That's all I want to know.
I feel like I have to intervene a little bit in here because I'm listening to this conversation. And, Breitbart said that politics was downstream from culture. I disagree. It's downstream from ethics. Every social system, every social political system is grounded upon a theory of ethics, a concept of what is good and what isn't, a concept of how people should interact with each other, what appropriate behavior is with each other. It always is. The Americanism that we're talking about, the individualism that you've said, which you disagree with, has a very clean and clear set of justifications for why it is a good and objective moral code to follow. Communism or collectivism is that concept is what I imagine your system is based on. Now explain to me why that is better and how that furthers humanity and enables humanity to thrive as opposed to the individualist ethic, which says that the individual is an end unto himself.
That's very easy because here's the thing, like you guys want to talk about how like ethical decisions guide things, but look at communist China, who just developed a better AI, gave it to the world for free. Look at their poverty alleviation. They've eradicated more poverty than any other force in all of human history. There's real concrete accomplishments in communism. And what I'm saying is that it's not really a sort of question of arguing back and forth on sort of sorry, I'm getting a text. We actually can get a fourth person in here, by the way. I'm going to send him the link in a second. But it's not a question of arguing back and forth what is ethically right. People do things that are ethically wrong all the time. It's a question of how does society actually change? But give me 1 second. I'm going to
But Noah, what we want to if you just believe in straight historical determinism,
it's not that.
No, hold on. Let me just say, if you think that that's what it is, then that's a different story. If not, then we can discuss that also. But the reason you made a claim just now about China, and just the tone of your voice when you said they gave it away for free, that is a value judgment. And all I wanted to do, I'm arguing for the ethical status of capitalism, the moral status of the system of free enterprise capitalism. That's the primary reason that Mark and I advocate capitalism,
Yeah.
is because it's the ethical system. So
I get it.
that's
just,
why
like,
I
here's
want
the
to talk
thing,
to you
you're
about
arguing
ethics.
for the ethics of something that doesn't exist, man. Like,
No, it does
You know what I
exist.
mean?
Of course it exists.
What
It's-
exists?
where?
Hold on. What exists? What doesn't exist?
I thought you said you wanted this pure
Yeah.
capitalism, right?
Listen,
Like,
here's the thing. There has never been, to my knowledge, a pure capitalist system, but there's also not pure communism.
sure there
Pure
is.
where?
There's nothing pure at all, so it's just communism.
Okay,
A
where?
process playing out historically, you know?
Yeah.
No, yeah. There is.
Where is there pure
I
communism?
think here's the problem.
Wait.
Brad,
The
When I
places
say
that
communism and capitalism, I'm talking about the real world, right? I'm not talking about some like future society that we worked out this policy and that policy. I'm just talking.
When you're talking-
about
but when you're
what
talking
already
about-
exists in the real world,
But when you're talking about communism or capitalism, you're talking about two different standards of morality, two different standards
I'm
of
talking
ethics.
about two
And
different
our
historical epochs and
our
ways of
sta-
society reproducing itself.
Our standard of capitalism, though it has never existed, has existed fairly in fairly close to pure form at one time, just as
When?
communism has
But
existed in
when-
fairly pure form
Hold on,
in
this,
multiple
all right,
states.
hold on.
In multiple states. No, I'm
Wait,
not talking.
wait,
Wait, Haas, no, you've come in, so you need to be
Myself.
quiet. Let me finish. Haas, you need to be
But
quiet. Let me
it's
finish.
very rude because I'm here. And you
We see.
have
Well,
to,
okay, and so you don't interrupt. You come in quiet.
Well-
You come in when your time is ready. Okay, so don't be rude. You don't be rude.
Yeah, just 'cause
We
you're
we
an
can
actor
we can
doesn't
see
mean
we
you
can
should
see.
be
I don't care.
asshole.
I don't care what you think. We can see
should
pure
care.
communism existed. No, I shouldn't care. I don't have to care what you think. We can still see what pure communism in places like North Korea and Venezuela, but you will deny that these places are experiencing pure communism. You'll deny that when China was purely communist and when it didn't have market innovations to help it expand its economy, you will deny that the famine times, the time of the Cultural Revolution,
All right.
had nothing to do with
Mark, I gotta
communism
interrupt
themselves.
because here's the thing: you're telling us what we're going to deny, and we're not denying anything.
Oh, good. So pure communism, you understand, becomes very violent.
There's no
It's
such
a
thing
violent-
as pure anything. The problem
Sure there
with
is.
your understanding
Sure there
of
is.
Chinese history is just that you don't have the facts correct. Like there's a ton of mainstream
Ah.
media distortions, but
Ah.
what I want to know is when this like perfect capitalism existed. You just said it did, and I don't see it.
No, I never said that. I said we
I-
came very close to it, and the closer we came to it, the more prosperous we were. The
But
greater the
didn't that
standard
just
of living was.
get us here?
But guess what? But Noah, no, that's not what got us here. Actually,
Well,
it's more socialization, it's more concentration of power and the intermingling of economics and
Yeah,
power
well,
and
that's
political
fine, but
power
it's
that
still
got
what
us
led
here.
us. Like it's still we
No.
were there, then we're here. Like that's what happened in history.
No,
right? And
capitalism,
whatever, like-
if capitalism operates as a standard of individual rights, as its operating moral standard, that's the standard that we have to hold up and have
But
to aspire to. The fact
Hold on.
that we've fallen away from it means we've fallen away from the standard. We have
Yeah, no.
separated ourselves.
I
from the
understand what
standard.
you're saying. That's why I keep telling you what happens in society ain't about any
Norway.
standards. What were you saying?
Yeah,
Hans?
Norway's more capitalist than we are.
No, my subscriber is named Norway. I'm thanking him for giving me 50 because I'm actually running money up here, and you guys are broke. It seems like collecting.
No, I'm a millionaire. Thank you very much, but thanks for your concern.
well, I just
Then
got
why are you asking regular people?
so.
Because political parties always get donations, and I told you we're going to discuss that at the very end, Noah. So I really,
Comrade Thomas, thank you so much for the 10. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, go ahead. Hans,
Hey,
you were gonna say-
Noah. Haz, could you not interrupt people when they're talking, man?
I just wanted to introduce my.
Thank you. Okay, well, wait till people stop talking. That's what polite people do, who respect other individuals.
Well, I think I joined the room, and you guys should all kind of stand up for me because I'm the chairman of the AC.
Yeah, I know you think that, but that's not the case.
But you're the fake
should-
AC. I'm the real one. So you guys should
we'll discuss that at the very end.
sure.
But
Yes, we
okay,
will.
we got to go back to this again.
Yeah.
You said we were at this such a close point to your perfect capitalism, right?
Mhm.
And then some history happens, and it led us to here. Now, what decisions were made along the way is immaterial because it still went from there to here, right? And this is precisely the argument that Marxism makes. It's why I keep saying, like, I don't understand where this happened at, this perfect capitalism, or how
It's not
develops.
a material. It's not a material. It's holding
It's
a
this,
certain worldview and
it's this like
and
sort of
system of
predefined
ethics.
thing that comes like the real capitalism's like the ideas you have. When what I'm talking about is the real world as it exists.
As our way. Go ahead, Michael. You raising your hand?
No. I'm just listening.
Okay.
Okay, this. I don't know. This conversation has kind of become unwieldy, and I was really hoping it wouldn't, but it's okay. I mean, I can flow with it. But the idea, well, if that's your standard, then I would just what's taking place in the real world. Well, what Marx advocated for had never taken place in the real world, but Marx still advocated for something. He still called it communism, right? So to say, well, because this has never existed, it means it isn't such a thing. Well, that's silly. So, but we've never had a dictatorship of the proletariat yet. We've never had a complete collapse of the capitalist class so that the proletariat takes over. We haven't had these things yet.
Yes,
So,
we have.
well, I mean, I don't know.
We have it right now.
Where?
Guys, the issue is all you've done this entire time is interrupt Noah and not let. By the way, stop putting my gain down to like all the way down so no one can hear me.
What is happening?
Are you
I
guys
haven't
messing with my
interrupted Noah.
game?
Hold on, I haven't been interrupting
no.
Noah.
Yeah, we
no,
haven't
that-
interrupted
that's-
anybody. Howard.
I could tell you're interrupting him because you're trying to make it seem like Noah's trying to say that real communism has never been tried, and that's not our position.
That's
at all.
not what I said at all. Actually, he said the exact opposite.
You said
Yeah,
that
he's-
Marxist
Actually,
dictatorship-
Actually, Noah made the claim that real communism has been tried.
right.
That's what he said. Nobody
So why
said
are
what
you
you
saying-
just came in.
Why
and
then are
claimed.
you saying that Marx's dictatorship of the proletariat, according to us, never came into
I
fruition?
didn't say it was according to you. I didn't say that. I said that what I said was that because that never happened, that contradicts Noah's
it did
previous
happen.
claim. But you're now misrepresenting what's being said.
What do you-
Michael,
wait, I'm
I
confused.
I can help
Did
here.
The dictatorship
Michael,
of the
why do you think-
proletariat happen or not?
Yeah.
N-
Why
no.
do you think it hasn't happened?
Why do
Where?
why?
Tell me
I'm
where it
looking-
happened.
why is-
I want to know
Well,
where it happened. Tell me
we are-
where.
Every communist state is a proletarian dictatorship ruled by.
Okay,
a
so
communist
Stalin in
Yes.
Russia, that was the dictatorship of the proletariat.
100%.
Yes.
What a wonderful place to
And it
live.
defeated world fascism.
No,
Yeah,
the Americans.
it took-
The Americans
it took the
did. But
Soviet
thank you very
Union-
much.
This
for
is
that.
this
It took
is
the Soviet Union from a third world country of illiterate
So now
peasants
we're talking
where my
literal
grandparents came from. It took the Soviet Union from a country of illiterate peasants where my grandparents came from, right? And made them the second biggest economy in the entire world in a handful of decades.
With
It let-
the
when
GDP of
Stalin
Texas
died,
at its height.
they were inventing space travel, and they had nuclear weapons.
With the
Like, you can't
GDP of
deny
Texas
that.
at its height. It got nuclear weapons from spies from the United States. It got its
Yes, it did.
technology. Anything that was worthwhile in the Soviet Union came from the West. There's a great book called East minus West equals zero. And I don't think there's anybody in America who would want to live in the Stalinist state, live in East Germany, where I'm sure you think pure communism existed, or live in North Korea for that matter, live in Venezuela for that matter, or even Cuba for that matter, or China. China, which did implement market reforms, did start to experience an expanded economy, and now that Z is in a now that Z is in a.
You guys are gonna-
Let me
you
finish
guys-
my point.
This is
Let
becoming
me
a
finish my
monologue.
point. Let
Yeah,
me
but
finish
you're
my
just
point.
10 minutes straight.
Now that Z is losing power within the Chinese
Yeah,
Communist
China's
Party,
gonna collapse
they are
any minute now.
starting
It's
to
an
consolidate.
old story.
They're starting to consolidate power. They're becoming less of a market. Their system is in a state of free fall at the moment. That's true. It's just simply true.
And it has
They've been
for like
saying that
30
for
years.
decades.
And you've been saying it about the American system for decades.
No,
But
we
we're
haven't.
still,
No,
but
wait,
we're
wait,
still.
we've been-
I'm saying
but-
Hold on,
communists.
hold
in
on,
general.
hold on. Haas, I can
America has
barely
been
hear you, brother.
experiencing- huh?
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
keep
what's
going
wrong
very
with your
low.
mic.
You go from real low to really high. Really
Yeah.
low to really high.
How is it right now?
That's
Loud.
really
Really
loud.
High
Now we have a huge
high.
echo.
And an echo.
and an echo. Let me see if I can fix these settings. Echo cancellation. How about now?
Now you're good.
No,
You're
act-
just loud.
You're good.
Whatever.
Just
I can-
loud?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Just deal.
How about this?
You're good.
Say again.
This is good?
Good.
It's
Good.
loud.
Okay.
Go ahead. Good.
Okay, so basically, I think that
You
uh,
went
No.
quiet again.
Now you went quiet again.
I don't know what's going on,
fuck,
man.
it's the fucking echo cancellation bullshit that they have.
Now it's loud.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it this way
Okay.
until it.
I can
Yeah.
turn your mic down on the. I think I can. Hold on.
All right, I think it should just stay this way. Is it all good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I came in the middle of what seemed to be a big dispute about the Soviet Union and communist history and so on and so on. I'm the chairman of the American Communist Party, and if I reference it correctly, the dispute began because you took offense to my visit to Sayyid Hassan Nasrallah's funeral. Is that correct?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
I don't remember. But you can remind me.
Noah, how did
You
it
can
start?
Yeah, I think it was Mark was joking about drone striking. Yeah, which, by the way, at the time, there were people leaking their location.
So hold on, before we get into that, Noah, Mark,
Yeah.
is it part of your glorious system of values that don't actually exist in the real world that you should kill journalists with drones?
It's part of my system of values that do exist in the real world. That
Mhm.
bad people.
Okay, hold on. Let me step in, Mark.
So journalists who are just
Hold
engaging in
on.
freedom of expression
Mark,
should be
can I
killed
say
with
something?
drones?
Hold on.
Kinda
Go ahead,
crazy.
Mike. Go ahead.
Mark.
Go ahead, Mike. No, I'm not
Mark,
done.
I'm gonna suggest that you not answer that. That's a bad faith question. This was supposed to be.
Consult your lawyer.
I don't listen. I don't need a lawyer.
You are the
I-
lawyer, dude.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm just.
Anyway, look, guys, I'm just asking because you said I should be droned. I'm wondering if that's part of your value system.
Hold on.
That's not what I said. That's not precisely what I said.
But
You didn't say we should
but
be
I
drone
really don't
strike?
care.
I
We
said-
came on here to have a debate about capitalism and communism, not over whether
Okay.
you should be drone striked or not. That's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the debate.
But you just
that
went
we're
on a
having.
big gibber spiel about your whole metaphysical system of values, and I
There
wanted
was
to know
no-
if that was
there
part of it.
Hold on. Listen, dude. I
I'm
come from a world where disrespect is not accepted like that.
I know you got 27 years in prison for stabbing
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah, I did, but that was
Right.
a long, long time ago. But Noah
Was that part of
assured
your
me-
value system as well, or no?
No, it's not. But Noah,
Okay.
Noah,
Just wondering.
you, hold on,
Because
Noah.
you said I should be drone. You seem very violent.
I
I don't
didn't
know.
say that. Hold on. I didn't say you should.
Well,
be
yeah.
drone, first of all.
You-
Secondly, so
You and
that,
your
Noah,
president.
did you not assure me in my DMs that we're all grown men and we can have a nice discussion? Is this,
Because-
is that
but he's
this?
making-
because
Okay, I'm willing to move past. I'm willing to move past the drone comment.
Haas is talking in
it's-
bad faith, but I want.
Hold on, guys. No,
No, I said I'm willing to
I
move
need
past
answer
it. I was
the
just
question.
wondering.
Hold on.
I want to say
Everybody,
that it is within
everybody,
my
hold on.
value system.
Hold on.
It is within
Okay.
my value system, which
So-
does exist in the real.
Okay, so you want to talk about it? That's good. Let's talk about it.
Bad guys. You
Mhm.
were, in fact, you were interviewing the leaders of Hamas.
Right.
Isn't that what it was?
So having the wrong
The leaders of
opinions.
Hamas- the leaders
Okay,
of Hamas,
hold on,
the leaders of
buddy.
Hamas don't just have wrong opinions. They're murderers.
But I do. But I
They're
have my own
murderers.
opinions. But I have my own. I didn't murder anyone. Your friend Michael did. I never murdered
No,
anyone.
no, I
No,
didn't.
he didn't. No, he didn't.
Oh, he
either.
tried to though. Anyway,
No,
look.
not really.
No,
Anyway,
he didn't.
look.
That's
I've
not-
never
that's not-
stabbed
Hold on,
anyone in
hold
my
on.
life.
Oh, I don't care what you did. Is that what this is about? Like you're gonna insult
But
me
he's
for
saying
things I
he's
did when I
saying
was
he's
just
saying
a
it's part of his
teenager?
system of values that I should be
It's part of my-
droned. Why should I be
it's part of my-
droned?
It's part of my system of values that terrorist leaders should be droned. Yes.
Am I a terrorist leader?
I don't know what you are.
Why did you say I should be droned?
You're an advocate for one of the most violent ideologies on the face of the earth that has been responsible for millions upon millions of
Okay,
deaths.
even if that was true, you're saying I should be
And
droned
you
for
seem-
having the
and you
wrong
seem-
opinion.
And you seem to be sympathetic to the terrorists that you're
Okay,
interviewing.
So hold on. No. Let me just pin him down on this. All right, calm down, buddy. You're not acting. You're not Lucifer right now. Okay, be an angel, not a devil.
Are you an adult?
Hold on.
Hold on.
I'm trying to just get.
No, you're like a child.
I'm trying to clarify whether
Everybody, yo.
Mark. I said I was willing to move past the drone comment, but you decided to go back to it. So I'm just wondering.
Because you're arguing in bad faith, and I wanted to tell you that.
Oh wait, one question. I just have one question.
It is objectively good.
One sentence.
It is objectively good to kill terrorists. But that's
One
not what I
sentence.
said in my tweet.
Do you think that people who have opinions you disagree with, just for having the opinion, that it's justified to murder them? That's all I want to know.
No.
And why did you say we should get drone striked?
I didn't say you should get drone striked.
You didn't say the stadium should be bombed?
I said my kingdom for a drone because you were with Hamas leaders who are guilty of murder. They're not only
I was at a stadium full of civilians.
The stadium was full of civilians, Mark.
I was in a stadium full of civilians.
They are guilty of murdering other human beings.
How many people were in that stadium?
Were you in a stadium? Where were you? Were
How
in a
many
stadium
people
that was
What does this have to do with capitalism versus communism?
Okay.
Hold on, is it that you're
Michael, your friend Mark wants to go down this path. I said I'm willing to move past it. He wants to go down it.
You keep asking questions.
Everybody, yo,
You did.
yo,
You
yo,
did.
yo. I'm gonna put the brakes on. Hold on a minute here, okay?
Good. Put the brakes on your friend Naj.
Okay, that's fine.
He's a bad faith arguer. Whatever.
Listen.
Why are you so angry? I just asked a question.
Because you're a bad faith arguer. Because you're dishonest.
Okay.
Because you're not. Because you're.
What was dishonest about what I asked?
Because you're trying to evade the actual tenor of the conversation, which has been about the ethics of communism versus the ethics.
I wanted to know if your moral
capitalism.
system was consistent because you talked about moral systems.
My moral system is consistent. Bad guys who murder people and advocate for the murder of others.
And journalists and civilians. Okay, people who have the wrong opinions should be killed. That's what you're saying.
Exactly wrong. People who
That's what you're
sympathize
saying,
with and
Mark.
aid and abet murderers and killers, they don't have.
That's
any
a subjective opinion. So for
No, it
having the
isn't.
wrong
No, it
subjective
isn't.
opinion,
They're
how
at
have
the
we
funeral.
materially?
They're
How
at
have
the
we
funeral.
materially?
They are at the
Okay.
funeral celebrating the death of a mass murdering.
So
fiend.
being at a funeral is
Of a
worthy
mass
of being
murdering
killed.
fiend. Of a mass murdering.
So
fiend.
that according to your moral system, if you attend the wrong funeral, you are worthy of
No,
death, even if you're a child.
If you're attending the funeral of a mass murdering fiend,
You should be killed.
You have the ideology that supports mass murder.
By the
Does
way,
that mean-
you're saying Nasrallah
that
is a mass
good?
murderer. How many people did he murder in your estimation?
How many people
since
did
he's
he?
in-
How many people did he command to be murdered?
Who cares?
Was
Well,
This has nothing
The
to do
Zionist
with
state murdered over
but hold on,
40,000 civilians
hold on,
over the past
hold
year
on.
alone. How many
Hold
did
on.
he? How many civilians
this
has he
has
killed?
nothing to do with capitalism versus communism. Are you
I
that
think it
afraid to
does,
debate your ideas?
Yes,
It
Michael,
doesn't.
I would be more than happy to just talk about economic systems, but you began this debate talking about
No, you
moral
did.
systems.
Because we're
Moral.
discussing capitalism versus
So your
communism.
moral system should be consistent, and I want to know if your moral system is
and
consistent.
what I'm saying to you is, I don't care what you want to know. You've shown yourself to be a bad faith actor. You came into this thing with bad manners. You've
Is it
been
wrong to ask
disrespectful.
if your moral system is consistent?
No. I don't. I'm going to tell you this. I will no longer respond to you because you are irrelevant to me.
I said
Noah-
I'm willing to move
Noah,
past the.
Noah, you've been respectful.
Look,
Noah, I will deal with you. You brought in a bad faith actor. I won't hold that against you because I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you didn't know he was going to behave this way. But
Look,
I wanted to debate communism.
I've been completely
capitalism,
calm. Do you want me to turn my gain down? I don't know how loud it is. I don't know. I mean, I've been calm. I don't know why you guys are so
doesn't have-
angry.
it doesn't have anything to do with, well, dishonesty and
look, I
evasion
think-
are sort of bad characteristics.
But how am I being dishonest?
They're bad
Guys.
characters. You're attempting to twist concepts in a way that
Forgive me
favors-
for inquiring
favors you
upon whether
enables you to seem like it's a justified and good thing to.
we don't have to
sympathize
talk
with
about
murderers.
moral systems, but let's just say your morality
that's-
is irrelevant to the debate.
Well, it's not irrelevant to the debate.
Well, it's clearly
Because
inconsistent.
it clearly isn't. Capitalism
You
has a
advocated
very
for journalists to be
specific
murdered, and now you claim that's not what you're advocating.
Aren't you the one that doesn't?
Is
want
Jackson a terrorist?
involved? I don't. But
Pardon me?
let's be real, Mark. Like he may have been rude to you, but he's got.
You called for my murder.
right? Like, You were saying
said
that because he
I
attended
said
a
something like
funeral,
the
my
kingdom
government should send a drone, right?
my
Like that's
kingdom for a drone to take
right.
out the terrorist
But aren't you the one?
sympathizers,
Aren't you
the
the
people
guy
who are
that's
making
talking about
life
how the
hell for
government
everybody
shouldn't?
on the earth. The government's sole
For
responsibility
having the wrong
the
opinions.
government's
Pretty
sole
crazy.
responsibility no for murdering
This
people.
is
The
this is what
government's
I
sole
always.
Who did I
responsibility
murder?
is to protect us
And this is
from people who think murdering other people to get their political agenda across is justified.
That's what you
the
believe.
government
precisely
is
what
You want to
you
murder
just
me and
did.
I
Jackson.
absolutely don't.
You just
No,
did
I don't
that.
believe
You
people
just
should. I don't think.
justified
But
murdering
you
my
said
friend.
if you want to disavow what you yourself said, that's fine. Just do it then.
I justified the government using force against terrorists and against
but-
terrorist
But I'm not a.
sympathizers.
Am I? So
wasn't
hold on.
terrorist.
Sympathizers
be.
is doing it. Mark.
You may
Sympathizers is doing a lot of heavy lifting. A lot of heavy lifting.
You may
in that.
be. Do you have sympathy for Nasrallah? Do you have sympathy for him?
So if I subjectively have
Do you
sympathy
have
for
sympathy
someone,
for him?
for Nasrallah, yes.
Okay, so you have sympathy for him.
So you condone my murder.
That means you have sympathy for his worldview. You support it.
So
you might
because of a
support it
certain
materially.
subjective
You
point of view,
you
I should be
support
murdered.
You support it spiritually. Oh
And
no,
this
you
is-
you support killing. You support killing.
This
Do
What
you
do you want me
support?
to
You
do?
support killing. You
I
support killing me.
I support defensive. I support defensive killing. Not
You mean like
offensive
what the killing Hezbollah does, which is purely defensive?
Which is not purely defensive.
Really? How many civilians have they killed
Listen.
over the past year versus Israel?
Oh, you mean because they're bad at it? You mean
No, they
because
could have
it's-
easily. They could have easily
Well,
long. I mean, I
they
was right in
certainly
front of an
tried.
Israeli village,
They
and they could
certainly
easily just
tried.
bombard. They don't do it. They don't
They've
target
certainly- They've
civilians.
certainly tried. Oh, yes, they do. They almost
Over the
exclusively
past year,
target
name a
civilians.
single instance in which Hezbollah has tried to kill a single Israeli civilian.
There's
Name a single instance.
Countless. There's countless
Okay,
over the years.
let's just go off of the
From
past year.
60s
Name
But wait a minute.
Name one instance over the past year.
Now we're getting into the Middle Eastern conflict because you're afraid to confront the ethical issues behind communism and the ethical
I
issues
can't
behind
take your
capitalism.
ethics seriously if they're
I
not
can't
consistent
take- I
relative
can't
to the
take
question
yours.
of my own murder.
Your
Okay?
ethics
It's not
tell you-
unreasonable.
your ethics
What I'm
are
bringing
telling
up is
you-
not unreasonable.
your ethics
You
are
said I
telling you
should
that
be
it's
murdered. I want to know how that's
Your
consistent with your ethics.
Your ethics are telling you that it's perfectly acceptable to support murderers and violent ideology.
No, that's what you
All right, let me
believe.
cut in here,
No,
guys.
that's what
Let
you
me
believe.
cut in. Let me cut
That's
in.
what you believe, dude.
No,
You want to
that's what you
murder me and
believe.
Jackson.
That's what
This
you
is
believe.
my problem with individualism and subjectivism in general. Is
We're not
you're
subjective.
going off of something that's inside his head that you believe you're sort of like this thought that you don't even know the shape of other than
You
words
just told me.
is enough. Hold on,
just
Mark.
told
Let me
me.
finish, man. I've gotten like 2 words out the last 10 minutes. So you believe that this thought that's in Haz's head is sufficient justification to call for his murder. Now,
Haas not only has it in his head,
regardless
he acts
of,
on it.
hold on,
How did I act
So
on
does
it? By
Hinkle.
attending a
Hinkle.
funeral?
he's done
Hinkle acts
nothing.
on it as well.
He's
By
regardless of-
interviewing someone as a journalist?
By supporting them, by giving them moral support on social media.
That's all
by
subjective.
By aiding and
all-
abetting them. No,
That's
it
not
isn't.
material
It's-
support.
it's letting-
According to the legal
it's-
definition, that's
letting-
not
it's
material
letting the
support.
bad guys
broken
know.
no laws. He's
It's
broken
letting
no
the
laws.
terrorists
He's
know.
no people.
It's
Yet
letting
you
the
are
terrorists
calling for his
know.
death over this.
And
It's letting the
therefore,
terrorists
I
know
should
that
be
you have- It's
killed,
letting the
right?
terrorists know that you morally support them and that their cause is not only just.
Okay, so hold on. So subjective moral opinions are determining whether someone should live or die now.
You were right, Michael. They do take it completely off.
We don't have to go down this road, my friend, but you wanted to go down it.
Tell you what, tell you what,
You
guys.
did.
I'm willing to move
did.
past your moral
You
if you
did.
admit you have an inconsistent
I'm-
moral
I'm
system,
not
we can move past
inconsistent.
it.
I'm not.
Let's
We could talk about the
You
history
are.
of communism as soon as you
You're
admit your moral
inconsistent.
system is inconsistent.
It's not inconsistent. Yours is inconsistent. You
But-
believe you can support murderers. You believe.
I believe I can attend a funeral without
authoritarian
deserving being killed, yes.
the funeral of a man responsible for the deaths of thousands and thousands of people.
How many?
Who wants
Be
to
precise.
Who wants to annihilate
Okay.
millions of people? That's the
Wait.
person that
Wait,
you
wait,
support.
wait,
How many
wait.
has he
Forgive me.
annihilated?
Forgive me if I
Hans,
think
hold
you're
on
kind
a
of.
second, brother.
Forgive
Let
me
me,
if I
let me
think
say
you suck
something
for
here,
that.
Mark. Let me say, so you just said that Nasrallah wanted to
Yeah,
annihilate
Hans, you do suck
millions
for
of
that.
people. Dude, let me please.
But should I be killed for it?
I
That's
said-
what I want to
I
know.
said
That's it.
millions.
Mark,
I said
Mark,
millions,
oh,
and he
Mark, take a
supports
beat,
it.
buddy.
Should I be killed for my opinion? We don't know.
You should be.
You're
You
not
should be.
helping.
You should be subjected to whatever happens because you are a supporter.
No, you said that.
So I should be killed. You saying I should be
You
droned?
should be subjected to wherever you put your support and actions.
Mark, if you think I should
You
be
went
killed,
there,
why don't you
you
stop being a
attended the
coward? Why
funeral.
don't you kill me, Mark? You do it.
I'm
Since
not
you
a
think it's
coward.
morally,
I'm not.
you're
a coward.
calling for it, you do it.
I think your values
Do it
are
with your own
morally
hands.
reprehensible.
But
You're a
isn't
pussy hiding behind drones.
Oh, is that what?
Do it with your own hands.
your non-aggression?
You're calling for me to get
Guys.
killed?
This
I
is
don't
Why
like
don't
the
you
worst
use your
hour
own
of
hands,
my
Mark?
life. This
Isn't
is like the
terrible?
worst hour
I mean,
of my life.
these guys
Give me a
are.
break.
All right, Michael, don't stab me. I'm
Why-
sorry.
why did-
I'm just
why
asking
won't-
Why
questions.
did you bring? Why
I
did you
won't.
bring Haas on? He's a clown.
Okay, guys. Let's
He's a
just
clown.
drop that subject, but I want to end on one thing, and I'm going to say it because I haven't talked.
Okay, good.
47,000 Palestinians have been directly killed by Israeli aggression. Aggression on Israel.
Defense. You're confusing aggression with defense.
111,000 have been injured. Now, this is real, actual violence. Let's go on to, rather than ethics, let's go to, we could go to the history of communism, because I think you could even make a good argument that, well, I won't make it for you, that there's violence in communism's history, right? My thing
Nothing
is,
but.
well, I mean, I look at China right now and see them.
How do you
leading the
think?
entire
Noah,
world.
can I ask you a question, Noah? Seriously.
Sure,
I'll ask
what's
you,
up?
I'll ask you. You've been respectful to me. You haven't been a dick or anything else. How do you expect me? Let's just go with me. Never called for your pal's death. There's no accusations or anything like that. I didn't come on here to discuss Israel. And
I said I was willing to move past it.
Noah, I'm talking to you, Noah, right? Your buddy has insulted me, said, trying to have people stabbed, whatever, things that I did when I was just out of my teens. I did 25 years in prison for, and everybody knows about it. I don't hide it, right?
Do you condemn your friend
af-
Mark's comments
After
according to
he
your moral
sat there,
system?
after he sat there and insulted me, right? Derailed the conversation.
Noah,
Do you
ask him if he agrees
do
with
you
Mark,
Really,
please.
Hey,
do you,
Haj,
do you
shut
really
up.
think, Noah, that I can sit here and just pretend like everything's okay and just have a discussion? The only reason that I didn't just leave is because my friend's here, right? That's the only reason. I wanted to come out and have a good faith discussion. I was nothing but respectful to you. Even if we disagree, I don't care. Disagree with all kinds of people. It doesn't matter to me. Right?
Yeah, and I got to say, Noah, you were respectful at first as well.
But to have been insulted and demeaned and all that, like, I'm not here now. I'm not going to have a.
But Michael, in fairness,
good
I want to be
discussion.
calm. In fairness, I'm not trying to be hostile. In fairness, I think
Yes, you are.
my
Yes, you are.
rudeness, as you're calling it, is a little bit reasonable in consideration of the fact that your friend called for my murder. Do you condone that or no?
So Noah,
Yeah, no,
Why are you avoiding that?
Michael.
He already said he
I mean, he's
didn't want to
got-
talk to you because you're a bad faith actor. So
All right, Noah, can you ask him then?
Let him
Look,
communicate with Noah.
Everybody, guys. I'm exhausted. I think, Haas has a point, man. Like, that's a very poignant way to put it when we're arguing for you guys saying you have this moral system.
Correct.
If you put it into perspective of the actual argument,
We are. I did.
actually, let's look at it like this then. If you guys, because I'm ready to go past it. Haas wants to go past it. I think we could have a good discussion.
No, he doesn't.
Honestly. And guys, everyone giving super chats, don't worry, we'll list them when this is all over. Thank you all, by the way. Sorry. I think that it's a fair point to make because of the issue of you guys believing there's this moral imperative that causes social change, right? And if someone is willing to aggress specifically against, I don't know if you guys believe in the non-aggression principle or not, but Haas
I
has
wouldn't put
done
it that way.
nothing, right? Haas hasn't broken any law. He hasn't hurt anyone. He hasn't called for
Sure.
anyone to be hurt. But you guys, or more, I don't want to blame this on you, Michael.
Hold on. Noah, regardless of what transpired between Mark and Haas online that I don't know about, right? I didn't do it.
Right.
I didn't insult him. He's twice brought up a crime I committed when I was 21 years old. I'm almost 49, right? I served 25 years in prison for it. I'm good friends with one of the victims in the case. I've turned my life around, right? And he's insulted me. I had nothing to do with
I
whatever
didn't
going
insult
on
you. I
with.
just want to know
Hold
if
on,
it's
hold
consistent.
on, Noah. I have nothing to do with what's going on with him and Mark. If the best argument you have against capitalism is Mark's a hypocrite, I'm not saying he is, but that's the thrust of your argument.
No, I
Mark's
get
a
it. No,
hypocrite.
we can.
So
let's
if Mark's a hypocrite, we should just throw out capitalism.
I
And
don't
that's
think-
that's just not a good. That's
I
just
think
that's
this
just
actually,
dumb.
Michael, you sort of kind of stumbled onto my point. Believe it or not, it has nothing to do like the should in that is what interests me. And let's just leave that whole argument behind. It's over. It's done. We won't bring it up again. Whatever. We'll just move past ethics and morals. Well, let's just look at should we throw away capitalism? That's not an argument I would ever make. I shouldn't.
Why don't we argue about
I would
civility
say
first,
it's
Noah?
already.
I'm willing to be civil. I just had a question. You guys don't want to talk about it. That's fine.
It doesn't seem you are. You haven't been civil since you came on, Haas.
He's going to be civil now.
I'll be civil.
It's
I'll
too
be
late
civil.
for that. For me, it's
Yeah.
too late for that.
Yeah.
I'm just.
I
I'm
could
just
look.
like-
I could cry and say that he called for my murder, and that I could throw a fit. But I'm willing to move past it. We
Yeah.
could be civil.
Let's just
Noah.
be civil,
you're
yes.
So Noah,
Michael, why are you afraid of me? I don't want to know. I just want to know why.
Noah,
See, you're
No,
not
to be
being
civil.
civil already, Haas. You're not
Yeah.
being civil already.
But you're refusing to engage with
Haas,
me in any capacity.
because you're
Just
not
because
you're
I
not a good
raised the
person.
question of whether your moral system is consistent
yeah,
or not because you
because
called
you're
for my
not-
murder.
Because you're not a good guy.
Noah,
You're not
I have
a
a
good guy,
question
you're
for
a
you.
bad
That's
Noah.
your opinion, dude.
Noah,
it's-
I have
it's
a
an
question for
objective
Noah.
fact.
That's
I just
really
wanna-
uncivil as well. What you just
Noah,
said.
can I ask you a question, Noah?
What's up, Michael?
Do you
yeah.
think that honest intellectual discourse is important even amongst people that vehemently disagree?
Yeah, you shouldn't
that-
call for their murder either.
That is how now hold on. Now, Noah, I was asked to come on here. Not Mark asked me, will you come on the show with him to debate? Just to debate, right?
So you condemn what Mark
Sure,
said. Let's move
sure,
past it.
Sure, I love to debate, right? I corresponded with you a little bit,
Okay.
all very
Yeah.
professional,
No, that's fine. Yeah,
right?
Michael,
That's what I would like to talk about more than anything
let's
else.
do it.
Is the importance of civil discussion,
Let's do it.
right?
That's
And
fine.
listen,
Believe it or not, Haas can be very civil. I think he's
I doubt it.
he's understandable.
I don't know the guy
Yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah.
of this, so he might be in other contexts a wonderful guy. All I know is that the way he acted toward me, like I'm not lending that sanction. I'm not going to be like, yeah, dude, that's cool. Not with no apology, nothing. Just, oh yeah, it's cool that you basically called me a murderer and you said brought up my past. That's all cool because that's fair game in a debate about capitalism versus communism. Come on, man.
In
I don't know
Haas's-
why you're so hung up over this. We're
about,
willing to
man.
move past it. Clearly, you're
This
not
is-
willing to be consistent.
This is sort of a Darvo type of thing that I think a pathotype.
Oh, here we go with the
Did you say-
psychobabble.
You're-
Let's just
you're-
get to the
you're-
point.
Did you say this was the fault of the Dharma Initiative?
I would say it's the fault of a bad actor named Haas. Hey, listen, Michael.
I wouldn't
sir.
talk
Michael,
about
did you
bad
wanna-
actors.
did you
Don't
wanna-
throw stones in glass houses about bad actors, sir. I
Well,
saw you in Lost. I wasn't
we
impressed.
That's right. Well, other people were, and it doesn't matter whether you were or not. Your opinion is already.
Everyone I talked to
demonstrated
says you
itself
ruined the
as
show. They
Oh,
all said you
everyone you
ruined
talked
it
to.
because your
Oh, I'm
acting was
sure.
really bad.
bad. Okay, good. You should
Well,
have told
so
that to the
Richard
Academy that
Salzman
nominated me.
followed me on Twitter.
Yay! So Michael,
He and I have had a couple
Okay.
debates.
Should we,
Okay,
should,
let's-
should we
I'm willing to move past this and just go to the meat and potatoes.
Hey,
Let's
hey,
just be
Michael,
civil.
Like
Michael,
all the
should
meat
we-
and all the potatoes, guys.
wait a minute.
let's
We're
just-
willing to move past it.
Michael, should we call this a ball? And let me just say a couple.
Don't
of
run away.
words.
Don't run away.
Haas, I would never
All
run
I-
away from you. I'll choke you unconscious anytime you want. Look, do you want on the mat? Of course, on the mat. We'll go on the mat if you want.
I mean, you already called for me to be drone striked, so I don't know what.
Yeah, well,
I don't
you
know what-
support terrorists. You support terrorists, and you like
Okay.
authoritarian regimes.
So, Michael,
that says
I think
something
that you're the
about you.
smart one of the two.
So-
Do you want to have a philosophical debate or no? You want to run away from that?
Michael doesn't want to deal with somebody who has bad faith, but I do want to address
Okay.
something.
let's
because
do this.
you did say something in a tweet of yours that we don't have a real party. That the American Capitalist Party is not a real party.
It's not real.
That the American Communist Party is a real party. However,
Yeah.
I want you to know something. If when you become when you declare that you are a party, do you have to declare yourself to the IRS? Have you declared?
I thought you were a libertarian.
Have you
You
declared
believe in?
yourself to? We
Do you
still have to
guys-
live according to the laws of the state. Have you guys declared yourself
It's
to the
also
IRS?
illegal to.
Have you been accepted under the statute 527 of the IRS?
You should call the IRS and
Have you?
report us. If you suspect we haven't, you should report us.
I
Do your
not
due
only
diligence.
I not only suspect that you have, I have a several list of violations that you are not in compliance with. But my point is, not to bring that up. My point is that
Sorry, you caught me off guard there.
my point is that we are the legitimate party. We are legally registered with the United States government. We are in compliance with the Federal Election Commission, and you are not. You're out of compliance with all of the laws and regulations that every party.
I just want to have a normal debate.
Party are subject to.
I just want to have a civil debate. That's
I'll
all.
let you know. I just wanted to let you know that you guys are the fake. You're the
I
fake
think
ones.
it's
And the
look,
IRS
look,
will be
Mark,
contacting
Mark,
you.
Yeah,
and it will be fun.
We get your point, Mark.
I
We do.
want to.
Am I not allowed to speak at all?
Mark, hold
no,
on,
you're
we
not.
get your
You're
point.
not. Go ahead,
Mark,
no.
Mark,
According to who?
Hold on.
According to me.
I find it incredibly.
You're not the
ironic
boss.
That we
I
have
am
a
the boss.
libertarian.
No, you're
in
not.
The American capitalist.
I'm not a libertarian. I'm not a libertarian.
This guy who wants free markets and no government,
Correct.
like whatever, and you're citing us regulations.
So you're saying that we should not be in compliance with the law as a political
No, I just
party.
think it's funny because
You're saying we should not be in compliance with the law.
Please let me finish one thing, man.
You're saying we
Come on,
shouldn't
just
be
one
in
thing.
compliance with the law. I don't have to
No,
agree
but
with
I'm
it.
saying that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
What is it? You're claiming there's a paradox.
You're
but
the
there's no
one who
paradox.
talks about this individual ethics and morality being the source of social change, and you want this free market that doesn't have any government intervention.
Indeed.
But then when it
Absolutely.
comes to the actual like existing thing, you're going right to government regulation.
The existing
telling us you're
thing.
not following them.
The existing
Then
thing is government regulations that you have
Yeah,
to follow.
but
Or you
don't you
do
see?
you-
but
do you plan
this
on
only
running
makes
somebody
sense
for
because
government?
It's you who
you
believes social
plan-
change is
you
based
believe-
on your notions of
So how are you
ethics,
going to
right?
run? How are you going
And
to
so
run people
why
for
aren't you
government?
living your ethics? I don't get
How
it.
are you going to run people for government? If you're out of
Mark, if I
compliance?
may, let me take a stab at this, please. Okay.
How are you going to run
If
people
I may.
for government? How are you going to run
Sure.
people for government?
We're going to
without being
field
in compliance?
candidates. We're going to
How are you
field
gonna do
candidates.
that without being in compliance with the Federal Election Commission?
We are not the ones who talked about our entire position being premised on our subjective moral outlook, though. That was you. We actually
We don't
understand the
have-
material reality of laws.
Then why aren't you in compliance with them?
Who said we're not in Who said that? That's what you said. Based on what?
Are you in compliance with them? Because we have evidence
Yes,
that you're not.
but you didn't ask. What's the evidence?
So
We're
you are
full
in compliance
with the
So you're in
law. I think-
compliance.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that you have failed to comply with 8871 of the IRS code. You have a failure to comply with
Okay.
8453-X.
What's your
failure
proof?
to
Based on
comply
what?
On the research that we have done on you, on the research that we've done on your party.
Can you
on
like, besides just stating it as fact without any evidence, can you be more specific about what we're in violation of?
You have not declared to the government that you started a political party, have you?
Noah, have we not filed our organization with the government?
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
We have.
We've
Well,
actually.
then why did you not know what a 527 was? And why
You're making
why
a lot of
why-
assumptions.
why
I don't
did
know
you
where.
not know- Why did you
Mark.
not know what code 887
there are-
was?
Well,
you
I
have-
have code 4532, which says that you're really butthurt right
do you
now.
do you have
Mark,
do you have an EIN number? You're
Mark,
the
there
chairman
are-
of the party. You're the chairman of the party.
I
So
do.
gotta-
You want to look it up right now?
Yeah, go ahead
I
and look
don't
it
know.
up.
Hold on. I'll tell you what it is. Look it up right now.
Good, look it up.
1 2 3 4 5 6 2 2 5 2 9. Look it up right now.
Okay, so I don't know what this research is, But
The research into whether you guys have actually complied with the law.
yeah, but like Mark, you're just saying you've done.
You're gonna have to look up the number.
Like, I don't even know if, like, look, I'm not in our legal department, right? But I don't know if that's even public information that you can get, our EIN.
Yes,
like,
you can.
well, then
You
go
can get
it.
you can
I
get
don't know what
you
to
can
tell
get
you.
whether or not you're in compliance with the law.
Then look it up.
We did. The secretary of the party did look it
The
up.
EIN number I just gave you. Look it up.
The secretary of the party also
Look up
told
the
us
number I
that
just gave
you
you.
are not in compliance with the
I think-
with the Internal Revenue
Look,
Code.
Mark, I think you're.
Nor are
you're
you
You have to
compliance
look up
with
the
what-
code that I just gave you, or else you'll never know.
Nor are you in compliance with the FEC.
Look, I think your secretary may want to redo his research a bit, but this is a silly.
Her.
Sorry,
Her, Noah.
I shouldn't assume genders. Let's get to an actual meat and potatoes argument, because this is getting silly, man.
I think excluding me from the debate is awfully convenient.
Give me the number again, Haas, because I'm gonna have it searched right now.
All right,
Give me
right
the
now.
number again?
I've got
One,
about a
two-
minute before I have to go, Mark.
Michael,
So-
don't run, please.
so if we
1,
can
2,
wrap
3,
this up,
4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 5, 2, 9, 1, 2, 5,
1, 2,
7.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mark, he's making up numbers, Mark. He's making up numbers, Mark.
Yes, all right. Yeah,
He
okay.
gave different numbers this time than he did the last time.
Haas, you're a child.
Um,
You're a child.
Look, man. Look,
You're a
look,
child. And you think this is somehow makes the Communist Party look honorable?
I just
You
want
look
to
cheap.
debate. I'm only
You
fucking with you because you said I can't
look
debate.
cheap.
Why don't we just debate?
You look cheap, brother. That's all you look.
What am I supposed to do? You said I'm not allowed to debate.
So I guess our parting words are: you guys aren't in compliance.
Oh, you're running away
Haas-
with your
Haas
tail
just
between your
proved it.
legs.
Haas
I
has just
think-
proved it.
You're running.
You're not in
I want
compliance.
to have a civil debate. Do you want to have a civil debate? Yes or no? No BS civil debate.
I want to have a civil debate with an adult. You're not an adult, and you've made this into a
Okay.
into
Well,
a
let's prove it.
romper
Let's
room.
prove it. I am
We've
right
already
starting
proved-
from here.
you've
Starting from
already
here.
proven it.
Civil debate.
No, Haas, you lost. You already lost it. No more debate. with
Why are you running?
And
It's
Noah,
so
Noah,
convenient for you to
and
run.
Noah, if you want to have this debate with your somebody else,
Has there ever
and
been
me-
a capitalist
and me-
system
and me
without
and
violence
Michael-
and force, Mark?
and me and
Has there
Michael-
ever been a capitalist system without violence and
if
force?
you-
That's all I'm
if
asking
you-
you.
If you it's predicated upon
When has there ever been one in
banning-
reality
banning-
without violence and force?
When has there ever been any political system without violence and force?
Never.
The only-
So I'm
the
asking
only-
you,
the
has
only
there ever been a
time-
capitalist society that
only
was not
time
premised by violent dispossession of
The-
people from their
there
land?
was- Yes.
Has there-
Yes.
name one.
The-
Please
the-
name one
the
example.
The capitalist system has been the mitigating.
Wait.
The number
Name one example of
mitigating
it then, Mark.
factor of the mitigating factor of violence.
But then
in
it's
all
founded
of
upon
civilization.
violence. In every case, it's founded upon violence.
It's founded upon the mitigation of violence.
Name one
But I'm not
example of it not being
we're
founded
not-
upon violence.
I don't debate children, so I'm not going to debate you.
Can you
Noah,
name one example, please?
Noah, when you want to have
Tell
a
you what.
debate, as an
Tell you
He's
adult,
running. I
let's
tried to
get back-
debate something substantive. He ran.
If-
I don't know what to
if-
do,
if-
guys.
Tell you what,
If you
Mark.
want,
Tell you
Go ahead.
what, Mark. Name me an example of a capitalist system that isn't predicated on violence and the theft of land and all of that.
I will name you a system whose ideals enable it to self-correct. The entire
Why are you
world-
avoiding the question?
Yeah,
The
but
entire-
communism
the
self-corrects as
entire
well.
world? No, it doesn't. The entire
Look at
world
okay.
is
Hold on, hold
based
on.
on
No. Let's
land
answer that
theft,
question.
brutality, and murder. What
Mark, let's
mitigated
answer that.
that?
That's capitalism.
What
That
mitigated
applies to
it? No,
capitalism.
no,
Let's give
you can look at
actual
the-
reasons.
you can
Name
look
a
at the
single
hockey
example
stick-
of capitalism
you
where
can look
that
at
isn't applicable to
you can-
capitalism
you
as
can
well.
look at the hockey stick graphs of human thriving throughout history, and you see the hockey stick rise in human thriving.
Let's start with the
directly-
basketball.
directly
Let's not get to hockey
correlates-
yet. Let's start with the
directly-
baseball. All right.
Directly
Can we-
correlates.
Are you talking
Directly
about
correlates
that,
directly
people
correlates
died
with the birth of
same-
with the birth of capitalism and liberalized markets and liberalized governments at the same time.
Name a
The
single
world has-
example.
the world
Just
has
name
always been-
one real
the
example
world
of that.
has- The world
I
has
agree.
al-
They liberalized.
the world has always
they-
been violent.
created markets, Mark.
States
But
have always been violent. The only thing that has mitigated violence has been the existence of capitalism in
But
the world.
but
Not
capitalism
communism,
could not exist.
Not communism.
Specifically, capitalism could not exist without the violent dispossession of people from their
No.
land.
Absolutely
Name a single exception
incorrect.
then. Name a single
Absolutely
exception.
incorrect.
But name an
Well,
exception then.
I'm
Name one
naming
exception.
the
Name
there-
one society that has existed in history that's an exception to the rule.
Name one society in existence in history that doesn't have a history of violence. Name one.
But I can describe to you in detail the
Name one,
particular way
name
in
one,
which
Name one that doesn't have a history of
then
violence.
capitalism is just as violent as any other
Name
system.
one. Wrong. It isn't. Name one that doesn't. That
But,
has
okay,
no
Mark,
violence.
There's none.
Violence is
So
insane.
capitalism is the
Exactly.
same as every other system.
When did violence start becoming a mitigated factor as opposed
Mark,
to
for
the
capital
means
accumulation
of
in
doing
particular to
business?
even be possible, people need to be violently alienated
No,
from
they
their
don't.
Yes. Well,
Absolutely
then there
correct.
should be there should be an
Marxist
example.
bullshit.
There
Marxist
should be an
bullshit.
example. There should be an example that disproves the rule. Is there even one in history?
Every entrepreneur in history has been an example of capital accumulation and creation
Entrepreneurs
that
are not the ones that
has
create the
enriched-
capitalist system.
Yes, indeed
Entrepreneurs
they do.
take
Yes,
for
indeed they do.
granted. Well, okay, the British East India Company, were they entrepreneurs?
The British East India Company was a government-sponsored monopoly, so it's not capitalistic.
So, but without the British East India Company, the entrepreneurs of the British Industrial Revolution could not exist and
It
would
is
not have a basis
It was
to
a
exist.
the British system was a mixture of
That was the
mercantilism,
foundation of capitalism, Mark.
and imperialism. No, it wasn't. The foundation
So,
of
name a
capitalism-
single example of a
foundation
capitalist system that doesn't rest upon that premise and foundation. Then
After you name to me a single system that doesn't
I
rest
can't.
upon violence,
I won't name.
period.
I can't.
Because
No
you
one
can't.
can.
But you
Right.
can. But you can name when civilization started to become less violent, and that correlated with the industrial.
But there was
Revolution
more
and
violence
the
as a consequence
beginning
of capitalism. No, capitalism caused
Wrong.
far more violence. Is there a
How?
single war in history you can name more violent than the first two world wars?
Wrong. Correct. No, and they were started by statist systems, not capitalist systems.
The World War I was started by statist systems.
That's correct. Statist.
Okay.
Statist
So
economies.
the Napoleonic War.
Bismarckian socialism. That doesn't. What is that? What's
But then we're
Bismarckian
operating under the. But then hold on. In one breath, you're going to attribute Germany's industrial success to capitalism.
To their
In another
status.
breath, you're going to say
I'm
it's
not-
Bismarckian
I'm
socialism.
not saying anything about their industrial success.
But
You're saying
in
who
terms
started
of the
wars?
human prosperity that you're attributing to capitalism,
started-
Bismarckian
who started
socialism
wars?
was indispensable in that development. So what are we
Bismarck-
attributing to capitalism, and what are we attributing to? So whenever
Bismarckian
something's
socialism-
bad, you call it socialist, but whenever something's good, you call it capitalist. Where's
This
the
is-
consistent definition
this
we're
is-
working
this
with
is-
so that we
this
know
is
you're not just
precisely-
bullshitting?
This is precisely what you're talking about. You're claiming that capitalism was the beginning of violence for the entire.
I never
world.
said that. I
I'm-
never
I'm
said that.
saying
I never
you're
said
implying
that.
it. You're implying it. You're saying it's
I'm not
predicated
implying that
upon
at all. I'm
violence.
saying
You're
capitalism in
you're
particular depends upon violence, and there's not a
you're
single
saying it
example of a
depends upon
capitalist
violence.
society
You're-
that is not predicated upon
Abs-
violence. That's all I'm
absolutely-
saying.
Absolutely, right here you can see examples of a mostly capitalist system or semi-capitalist
Name one.
system.
Name one.
Every day in our own societies.
But
in
name
America
one society.
that are predicated upon free
Okay,
exchange.
you
to
think that
mutual
America,
benefit.
you think the American capitalist system is not predicated upon the violent dispossession of people from their
The
land?
American capitalist system is what ended slavery. The American capitalist system and the
Okay.
ideals behind it, which are the concept of individual right, and that
What about the
every man-
colonization
and
of
that
the
every-
Philippines?
and that every man is created also not done by capitalists.
But okay,
rather
Okay,
okay,
by
Mark,
when it's-
inferior-
so-
but by
Well, what was
individuals.
wait, how is capitalism behind
Roosevelt-
Lincoln's? Lincoln was in a. Why is Lincoln not a
was not
socialist,
a
but Bismarck
capitalist.
is? Lincoln was not a capitalist, correct?
Of course he wasn't.
So
He was not a
how is it
capitalist,
that
but
capitalism was responsible for the abolition of slavery when it was the statist Lincoln's Union Army that ended slavery?
Because the North was more or less capitalistic, and the South
But
was feudalistic.
but that was a result of Hamiltonian
what we
protectionist
have-
policies.
what we
That was
have-
a consequence
what
of
we have to
Hamiltonian
understand-
protectionism,
what
not
we
free
have to-
market libertarianism.
What we have to understand, we're not libertarians. What we have to understand.
Well, I know, but
is
what
that we're
is
talking
capitalism
about-
to you?
we're
If
talking about-
Bismarckian, all I'm saying is this:
We're-
if Bismarckian
You have to let me-
industrialization is not capitalist to you, then neither is the industrialization that
Your-
occurred in
your
the North
original-
leading
your
up to the
original
Civil War.
concept-
That's all I'm
your
trying to
origi-
say.
Your original concept was which country, the wars that were started. World
And
War
you
II,
named America,
and
which is the
World
most
War-
retarded
and World-
example, to be
and
polite.
World
You know,
War
it's
I,
a really stupid
and
example.
World War I, you said
Okay.
were capitalist societies that started the war. I said they were not. It was a
Okay.
Bismarckian socialist economy that
So-
started the war. And
so-
World War II, sorry, let me finish. World
Okay.
War II was also started by a socialist economy called fascism, a different type
Okay.
of socialist. But
What did
socialism
Hitler
nonetheless-
did Hitler
So
nationalize?
statists-
Name two
So
things Hitler
statists-
nationalized. Can you name two
statists-
things Hitler nationalized?
Every single company that was under the control of the government, even if they were nominally private, they had to do the bidding of the national government. And
You
know
mean
that.
that's true? But that's true for every single example of a capitalist society in history, Mark. Every single
Nope,
one.
It's true.
Name
for
a single
society.
example
It's-
where capitalists
it's
didn't have
true.
to do the bidding of
It's
government.
True, it's true for your communist China. It's true for America.
No,
now
name a
that it's
single-
becoming socialized.
When
It's
did
true-
American
it's
capitalists
true-
not
it's
have to
true
do the
for-
bidding of
It's
government?
true for every mixed economy that exists.
At
in the
what
present
point in
day.
history did capitalists not have to do the bidding of their government?
Capitalists didn't have to basically do the bidding of their government before the 19th century.
So in the
After the-
1700s,
in the
according
late-
to
in the
you,
late-
capitalists
in the
did not
late
have to do the
19th
bidding of their government.
I didn't say every capitalist.
Okay.
Government has always been mixed into the
So
economy.
let's just be
But-
clear about what you're saying.
No, no,
So
no, no.
Mark,
Britain-
why engage this guy, Mark? Why,
I mean,
I don't
he's-
understand
he's-
why you're engaging.
Yeah, I-
he's not
Michael,
good faith
Because
at all.
he's a bad faith actor. He's
So
Mike-
then why
Mark-
engage
he
him?
keeps arguing about. You're right.
Michael, look, dude,
So
just by
guys-
looking at you, I could tell you're way sharper than this guy. Why don't you debate me?
So guys,
You're way sharper than him.
guys.
You should take a stab at it.
I suggest you go to the IRS and report yourselves because we've reported you for you. So they'll be knocking on your door shortly. I suggest you get it. I suggest you get an EIN number. I suggest you do all the things in compliance with election law. Otherwise,
Wait,
you're not gonna be
wait.
able-
I need to get the
otherwise
number.
You're not going to be able to elect anybody. You're not going to
Fuck,
be able to elect anybody. All right,
think-
Michael.
I
I
think
am.
they
I am.
came- I think
I
they
am
came for
sorry.
Haas,
I just got the number. I just got it.
I'm sorry I engaged with these guys.
I just got the
probably shouldn't
number.
have engaged them because
Oh,
they
thank
aren't
God,
good
Oz.
faith.
I thought
aren't good
they
faith.
came for you. Look, I think here's the thing. Like,
Mark, may we leave?
Yeah, let's leave. All right.
You're running away.
Bye.
You lost. Bye.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
suck
yeah.
as an actor. You're shitty. Your job sucks. No, I'm so sorry, but like, I know I don't want people to say I ruined it because like I literally said I'll move past it when I brought up the thing about him wanting to drone me. I'm like, all right, I'll move past it. We'll just focus on the meat and potatoes. His friend didn't want to debate me. And no, I watched like the first 5 minutes, and the whole time he was going on a monologue, gibber babbling about morality. So before I got in the shower, I was just thinking, okay, their whole thing is about morality. I just want to ask him one simple question: is it morally consistent to say that journalists and civilians should be killed by drones? I don't see how I derailed anything. I don't see how I ruined it. I don't know. Noah, be honest. Did I ruin it or no? Hit. What's up, brother?
That's the problem, right? Like, look. Oh, I think Michael's still here. He's backstage. Michael, thumbs me up if you want to come back on.
Yeah,
Oh,
bring him
he left.
back.
No, he
Bring
left.
him. Oh, he left. All right.
Okay. No, like that's the issue. Like, I don't care about the like. I don't think like. I think it's weird that you think social change happens because we argue coherent systems of ethics. Like, it's not a subconscious development for people. But like, when that's your opinion, you can't like just call for someone to be drone strikes because they have an opinion you don't like.
I didn't thank you. I didn't want to take that.
I don't know, man.
I didn't want to take it personally, you know, and like, because I wasn't upset. I just thought it was a little strange. Like, okay, you're talking about morality and all this stuff about like your consistent metaphysical moral system. And I just wanted to know if you regard that as applying to your own actions, because one of the things I wanted to argue actually is like, where are the fruits of this? Like, what does it look like for this thing to be real? Right.
Right. Well,
Norway appreciates you. So I just wanted, I wasn't asking as a gotcha. I was genuinely asking because I was like, if this can't apply concretely to like how you yourself behave, maybe you're willing, you know, what they could have said is they could have said, Mad Beach, what's up? They could have said like, okay, but I'm an imperfect human being, and obviously there are examples of me being inconsistent. This is a transcendent moral system of metaphysical values that we can only kind of aspire toward, but never fully realize. I would have accepted that and been,
Right.
well, I would have continued arguing, like, but I would have been like, okay, so you've addressed what your comments are, how you qualitatively value those comments in relation to your own moral system, and we could move on from that, right? But he wouldn't do that. He kept trying to justify his claim that a stadium full of 100,000 people, myself and Jackson, a journalist, should be drone striked and killed. And he just wouldn't let go of that. He wouldn't let go of trying to justify that.
And you know,
And
like I was trying to sort of jump in, but like every time you like said something, he would interrupt and would just repeat the same thing, right? And so I'm trying to like jump in and go, okay.
Noah, these
You
two
say
guys,
this is your justification. Let's examine it, right? But
these
we
two
couldn't even
guys,
get there.
from what I watched, these two guys did nothing but like tag team you and interrupt the shit out of you the whole time. From what I saw, like honestly, that's just all I was seeing. So when I came in, I knew I would have to you know, tell them, hey, you guys have to shut up. We need to get some words in here. I wanted to start it like I was just going to introduce myself, and then we could actually have a back and forth, you included. But maybe I was wrong because I was showering for like 20 minutes, but like I was getting prepared and showering for like 20 minutes. But like what I was seeing before I got in the shower was them just talking over you, like taking turns going on monologues and barely letting you get a word in. Am I wrong about that? Or
I mean, they were interrupting me. Yeah. I was trying to sort of just actually hear them out.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's like when it's just one person, that's no big deal. But when it's two people, I guess it's stark, right? Like it
Right,
really is
yeah.
in the face. But like I don't know. I was beginning to get a bit impatient. Like, okay, that's enough of the gibber. And I'm trying to be nice about it, going like, let's not gibber at each other rather than saying, dude, please.
The way I see it though, Noah, it's like if they are debating about political issues, I think it's a huge insult that they like went on this whole tangent about morality and metaphysics and moral systems when, you know, working people in this country want to see meat and potatoes. They want to see results. They want to see what does this actually all amount to in reality. I don't know if people really want to spend their free time gibbering or entertaining like substanceless gibber. And I feel like what I brought up to them helped illuminate the fact that it was substanceless because it didn't even apply to their own positions and how they themselves conducted themselves in public, you know, calling for people to get murdered because they have different opinions.
And not even that, it just doesn't it doesn't actually reflect anything real in people's lives. Like, who cares if you believe that, you know, you can't in something called a non-aggression principle, right? Who cares if you, and this was I was trying to tell him at first, like, why should I care that you have this like ethical system? Like, I don't. I mean,
especially when they can't consistently apply it to their own actions. The other guy brought up that I was, you know, wrong for bringing up his past that he stabbed someone. But he right off the bat said that I was a bad faith actor, right? So he's the one who began the encroaching upon civility, you know, that occurred.
Yeah, I think maybe like maybe that was a little
I don't know. I feel like it's
you
fair
said he was sharp.
Because at that point he completely said that he's not willing to engage with me in any capacity at all.
Right. Like, no, he really said that, like, he really, yeah, no, okay. Maybe it did cross the line a little, right? But
yeah,
at that point, it was just like, I was just so sick of just hearing Mark say the same thing over and over that I was just like, okay, at least this is different, right? But like, honestly, I thought that guy Michael was kind of cool, believe it or not. Like I was like, I feel like he seems like a dude that like I would have known when I was younger. like
yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean? Like he probably is a cool guy. I don't know. But like for me, I try to put myself in other people's shoes. Like,
Look,
like
I did lose it. I will admit, I did lose it when he started looking up the EIN.
Michael had to tell Mark that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was fake.
I couldn't. Yeah, that was when I lost it, and I lost composure.
By the way, guys, an EIN is an employer identification number. You can't like employ anyone without it. Like you can't do it. So like it just strikes me as odd because like okay, they don't call themselves libertarians, but those were all of their arguments. Those are the spaces they're in. And so first we had the libertarians creating a party that is asking people for handouts while the Communist Party is building businesses. Then the Capitalist Party is like citing government regulations at the Communist Party. Like it's just like if you believe this subjective like view of your ethical system is what creates change, why can't we bring up that that's inconsistent with how you're acting just like throughout the whole thing? Let's get to hold on. We got like a bunch of super.
No, I don't want to keep you.
Yeah, no, that's fine, brother.
Yeah.
I'll see you. Yeah.
No,
So,
look, I apologize if I made a mess of it. I was genuinely just trying to like move. At the moment, I knew they got triggered just from the question. I was like, okay, I'm willing to move past it. I'm willing to be civil. They really just got so triggered by that question. I don't feel like I feel like it's kind of unreasonable why they got so upset by that question, you know?
yeah. I think it was kind of odd. Well, you know, like when you're caught in it, not everyone is upfront to like when you figure out you're wrong about something, go, oh, my bad. That's real hard for people to do on the internet, man. You know, not everybody has the virtue ethics of a communist, after all.
Yeah. Anyway, Noah, my bad if I made a shit show of it, but I genuinely had good intentions. I did not have the intention of making a mockery of them, but they
all good. All good, brother.
All right. See you later, man. Bye-bye.
See you, brother. See you. All right, we're gonna get to the super chats, everybody. Haas, I think you're oh no, he's not present. Okay, he's gone. All right, super chats, here we come. We're just gonna do them in order. You ready? Communism is Americanism. Thanks for the 10, Sombra. Appreciate it, brother. That's precisely it. And I never got to actually say this because they view and this is the problem of metaphysical thinking, right? They view things as static and stuck in time and oh, it's this, like something must be this or that. And it can't be this and that at the same time, right? But dialectical logic proves that actually it's this turning into that. Communism is Americanism as it continues to grow, right? That seems very basic to me. And boys, he says kind of the same thing. Thank you for the 2, brother. Thank you. The people who brought up morality don't want to talk about their morality. Well, what are you going to do, Estefani? Cardi, thank you for the 20, brother. Thank you. And another 2. Marx has 0 authority and negative aura. 5 memberships from VLX, who is a hero of the Institute. Thank you, brother. The 80s Wolf with 200 SEK, which I have no idea what that means. Some currency I'm not. Maybe, is it South Korean money? Either way, thank you, the 80s Wolf. That's fantastic. And Mo 1917 with the 20. Thank you. And another one from VLX. $2. Massive boomer moment for Mark. Spread it far. All right, guys. I mean, that's it. That's the end of the show, right? I will. I'm not gonna, claim victory or say who was defeated or nothing like that. I'm going to leave it up to you guys, the audience, and we'll do that. Maybe maybe I'll message this Michael guy and we'll see if we can talk to him again, or maybe get him to like call the show on Monday or something. I don't know. We'll see. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you on Monday, and we're gonna end with something awesome just because I want to. Yep. Have a good night, everybody.
In the morn, the twilight of the reckoning, when the shadows grow across the fields of light, when the tide flows as it a whisper in the wind, there's sunset, won't fade away. Rising from the dust, all the souls are called from the valleys and the mountains. They stand tall. The time is to come to face the truth and find the narrow path that is drawn by Jesus' light.
The red tide's rolling and revealing the sin. Under the moonlight, the judgment begins. Rise from the ashes, let redemption unfurl. It's the end of the line in this broken world. On judgment